Sadly, these days, mass shootings are just becoming more and more common. Every year there's more of them, and every year more people die from them. It's just a sign of the times we live in. It's something we've all become accustomed to. It's just something we've gotten numb to. Or at least this is what the media would like to tell you. People like Rachel Maddow or Brad Plummer from the Washington Post, contributors to the Rachel Maddow Show, and several other journalists. This is the stuff they're telling us. The only problem with what they're telling us is it's a blatant lie. In fact, it's such a lie that a lot of them are having to print retractions. A lot of them have to back off statements that they've recently made. Now, of course, they don't make these retractions with the same gusto they make their original statements. They don't do it on primetime television or their network news shows or on the front page of a newspaper. They usually do them in their blog or on the back page of a column. They just don't really say it out loud. They don't want to scream it to the rooftops. They scream, "Oh my God, it's horrible!" But then, "Oh, maybe I was wrong." So it's not really honest in the way they do it. But why are they all having to print the retractions in the first place? Well, it's because they all say, "Well, it's not really our fault because we based our opinions on this Mother Jones study on mass shootings." Now, if you ask me, it's a little crazy to go to a website like Mother Jones when you want crime statistics when there's criminologists and the FBI and all these other sources. But okay, let's say they went to Mother Jones. Let's say they had good reason to do it. They did it. So what's wrong with this actual Mother Jones study? Why is it so bad that it's making these people say stupid things that make them look like idiots? Well, the problem with this Mother Jones study is it cherry picks the information so much. It is such a blatant manipulation of the facts that it's no longer just bias, it's now just outright lies. What they did when they started collecting their data is they had an agenda. They wanted to show that mass shootings were up and the number of people dying from mass shootings were up. So they decided, well, we're going to eliminate certain things. We will eliminate mass shootings where there was a crime involved. There was another crime taking place, like a robbery or something like that. We will eliminate mass shootings that maybe had gang involvement. Maybe it was a gang member that killed 7 or 8 other gang members. Well, we won't count that. And worst of all, they decided we're only going to count mass shootings that occur in public. So if someone storms into a private residence and kills an entire family, we're not going to count that. We're only going to count the ones that happen in the public eye, the ones that are media fantastic, the ones that had the cameras rolling. Now, can you get more biased than that? Can you get more manipulative than that? I don't think so. The reality of the subject, according to Alan Fox, a noted criminologist who did the studies based on the FBI's own numbers, there is no increase at all. He states that anyone that is stating there is an increase is mistaken or blatantly lying because there is no increase. In fact, I'll try to stick the chart up here of the actual numbers. And if you notice from 1980 to 2010, this is what the actual chart here just covers. There's really no increase. It's an up and down pattern. There is no constant. It is like, one year there might be 110 people die, the next year there might be 25, and then the next year 40, and then it might go back up to 90. There's no distinct pattern, and the average has not changed. In fact, 2012 is pretty much an average year. In fact, he was asked after the shootings in December, does this change the statistics? And he's like, no, it doesn't change the statistics. A blip on the screen that doesn't exceed the national average does not change the statistic. It is just a grouping. In fact, when Fox was asked after the December killings of last year, does this change the statistic? He was like, no, this does not change the statistic. In fact, he said, without minimizing the pain and suffering of the hundreds who have been victimized in senseless attacks, the facts say clearly that there has been no increase in mass killings. In fact, when clusters of incidents occur close together, that likely reflects a mixture of copycatting and coincidence. It does not stand to be a trend. So when you look at the real mass, when you look at actual mass shootings and how many people die from it every year and how many of them actually occur every year, how many perpetrators, how many victims, there really hasn't been any increase. In fact, the year 2012 had less than some previous years in the 80s, some previous years in the 90s, and some previous years just a couple of years ago. Less than those years. So you can't really say there's this huge upswing. Like he said, like Mr. Fox said, there's this little cluster. And sometimes they occur in clusters, but that does not change the average. It does not change the trend. That's not how math works. Also, Fox pointed out that we need to keep the number of people that are killed in mass shootings in perspective. It makes such a small number of the people that are killed every year. And in fact, when you think of an average year, a high year where a high number of people die in mass shootings of 100. Every year, 100,000 people nearly die from medical mistakes, avoidable mistakes. So let's keep that in perspective. So when you're talking about mass killings, when you're talking about the rate of incidents, when you're talking about the rate of people that are actually killed by them, the reality of this increase in the occurrence is that it isn't reality at all.